Picking the perfect student accommodation can be such a hassle. Where do you even start? What is there to consider? Well, I'm here to help you. In this video, I'll be sharing with you the 10 things to consider before picking any student accommodation. Hey, what's good, beautiful people? My name is Shella, or you can call me your lawyer bestie, and I welcome you to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the 10 huge considerations that you need to take into account before signing any lease to any student accommodation. Yes, I want to help you choose the perfect student accommodation for you. So I have stayed in both on-campus accommodation as well as off-campus accommodation. 2 years on campus, 2 years off campus. So I have quite a bit to say about student accommodations. If you haven't checked out my previous video where I talk about the advantages and disadvantages of staying on campus in res, you might want to check that out first and see if res is something that you could consider. So yeah, here we go. The 10 things that are super important to take into account before signing any lease. The first thing to consider is the proximity to campus. How close is the student accommodation from your learning facilities? If you are required to attend classes on site, you don't want to pick a student accommodation that is too far from campus. I would say preferably somewhere where you can walk to campus, because having to factor in additional transport costs might even lead to some days you not going to campus because you don't have the money for it. I mean, I know as a student, budgeting is not exactly the nicest thing to do, just to put it lightly. So getting a student accommodation that is close to your learning facilities will help in that you don't even have to factor issues of transport. So being close to your learning facilities would avoid you having to factor in transport costs. The second consideration is cost. How much will it cost you to live there, and what is your budget? Consider this, as this is huge. And in the points to come, you will see why costs are very important to consider. Number 3, this consideration, in my opinion, is often overlooked, but now that you know about it, you will not overlook it, and that is the terms of the contract. What does the contract say? Does it say that you can rent the property for the whole year, or does it stop at November? You have to look at that, because there are some student accommodations that will only lease the property to you until November, because in December they need everyone to be out so they can fumigate and do maintenance, so that in the next year in January, when new students come in, they can move into a newly renovated and maintained place. So you have to look at how long the lease is for. You have to look at the certain restrictions for that particular accommodation. So for example, there are some student accommodations that don't want visitors to stay until a certain hour. So you might want to look at what the hours are, and see if it's something that you're comfortable with. I know a whole lot of student accommodations, a majority of student accommodations don't want sleepovers. So check on the contract. Does yours allow for sleepovers? And if it does, see if it's something that you'll be okay with. And not just from your own personal perspective. If you have guests and they sleep over, of course that's amazing. We all want to do that with our friends. But think about other people as well. Imagine if there are always strangers in your student accommodation because everybody's friends sleep there. Would it be something that you're comfortable with? So make sure that you look at the terms of the contract and really think if the terms of the contract are something that you will be okay with living for 1 year or 2 years, or however long you decide to stay at that particular accommodation. Next one, number 4. See what is included in the rental amount. I know that there are certain student accommodations that offer a kitchenette, microwave, and a fridge. Some student accommodations don't. There was a time I had to purchase my own fridge, my own microwave, the whole shebang, my own iron, just everything. I even purchased a small little stove so I can cook on it. So you might want to consider what is included in the rent. Do you get those things or do you have to buy for yourself? And don't think that all student accommodations are going to give you a fridge, a microwave, and a stove, because that is not what is going to happen. Like I said, there was a point where I had to buy my own. So please look into that. Look into what is included in the student accommodation. Oh, before I even end on this point, some student accommodations, especially those that are outside of campus, will offer you transport. So from the student accommodation to varsity, the transportation would be free because it is covered by the rental amount that you pay. So these are things that you want to take into account, especially when you are considering living off campus. Consider the transport cost, especially if the accommodation is not walking distance to your learning facilities. Number 5, check what amenities are included in the facilities. Do they have a gym? Do they have a study area? Is there a pool? Is there a laundromat? These are things that you have to take into account. I cannot stress how important it is to take this laundromat point into account. There was a point in my student journey where I had to pay for laundry. And right now, one basket is about 150/200 Rand. And that's a lot of money because you're going to be washing quite a lot of times in a month. And if you're going to have to do it like 3 times, that's like 150 times 3. And that is quite a lot of money. So see what is included. There are some student accommodations that have a laundromat and it is included in the fee. So you can just wash your clothes and it's all good and well. I remember when I had to pay for laundry services, it was such a problem for me because I'm a person who likes to wash my bedding very often. So now I had to like pay to wash my bedding. I got to a point where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start taking my stuff to my old friends who lived at res because they don't pay for laundry and they can wash it for me. So you see, you don't wanna get into those inconveniences. So take these things into account, see what is included and what is not. And if you're a sport person, see if there's a gym, with gyms as well. Like if they're not included in the amenities, you're going to have to pay for a gym membership. And that is not cheap as well. So take these things into account, see what is included. The next one is amenities around the student accommodation. Are there shopping complexes around? Is there a police station? Public transportation, is it easily available? So look at those things, take them into account, because not having access to public transportation nearby, not having a shopping complex nearby can be such a huge inconvenience. Having to go really far for a police station also isn't something that I would advise. So just look at the amenities that are available around the area, preferably at walking distance. I think that will make your varsity life a whole lot better if you don't have to pay to get to the shops. Number 7 is security. Assess the security at that particular student accommodation. Are there CCTV cameras? What are the security points like at the gate, in the entrance and the exit? What's the security system there? Are there security guards working 24/7? Is there a boom gate? How do people get in and get out of the accommodation? What is the safety measure on our doors? Do we have locks, or like what? Look at the security aspect of things. Are you going to be safe? That's what you have to consider. Student accommodations that don't have security guards like on the premises 24/7 will usually have a security company that they use, like an armed response ADT, and all of you would get a panic button. So if you are experiencing a burglary or there's an intruder, you can just hit that button and armed response will come and help you. So consider these things, because your safety is of utmost importance. You cannot live in a place where you are not safe and you are not protected. There's absolutely no way coughing up money to a place where you are not protected. Unfortunately, there has been a whole lot of news about students not being safe in student accommodations and things like that. And if you are considering a student accommodation that is notorious for that, I think just put it last on your list. Only live there if you absolutely must. But I really think that safety is a huge concern and you should really take it into account. And the next one, number 8, the neighborhood. Consider the neighborhood in which you will be staying. You don't want to stay in a loud neighborhood or a neighborhood that is notorious for crime and the like. You preferably want to be in an area that is quiet, because as a student, you will be required to read, study, do assignments, and I think it is best to do those in an environment that is quiet and peaceful, as opposed to you trying to do an assignment and downstairs there's a shop operating, next door to it there's a club. Like on Saturdays, your student accommodation is probably like a flat, so you guys are up there, a club is down there. Like, there's just too many distractions in that area. I really would recommend you to stay away from such places. Rather go to a place that is quiet, that is safe, and that is clean. That is clean. You also don't want to stay in an area where it is dirty, it smells. You're gonna get sick. If you are not physically healthy, you're not going to be able to live your best student life. You're not going to be able to maximize your time as a student, because if half of the time you are sick, even your grades are going to drop. So just consider the neighborhood very carefully. Number 9, so important, consider the setup. What is the setup like? Do you have to share a room? Do you have to share a kitchen? Do you have to share a bathroom? And with how many people are you meant to share that bathroom with? These are things that you have to look at, because if you want to stay by yourself, if you have OCD and you want to live by yourself, if you don't consider things like, you're sharing, who you're sharing with and how many people you're sharing with, you will be shocked when you get to student accommodation and you are expected to share a bathroom with 10 other people. So these are the questions that you need to ask before signing on the dotted line. Number 10, the last one, is comfort and convenience. Is this place comfortable? Is it convenient? What you want to ascertain is that the services that they are providing me, the services that I'm paying for, will they make my student experience more comfortable and convenient? That is what you want to consider. So those are the 10 things that I think you need to take into account before signing any lease with any student accommodation. If you have found this video to be helpful, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and drop down to the comment sections. Let's engage if you have further questions. And I thank you so much for watching. I will see you on my next one. I wish you the best of luck when it comes to finding the perfect student accommodation for you. Until my next one, I'm sending you tons of love and light. Bye.